Greetings, I am TiPit, and if there's something I absolutely hate is being called names. Actually, I don't mind it. I think it's awesome. When people call me a hacker or say that I'm like too OP or there's a problem with me and I probably just have like walls or something, I think that's awesome because that's the most complimentary thing you could say to me. I mean, I prefer somebody calling me a outright hacker than somebody saying I'm a good player. Depending who it comes from, of course. But there is one thing that I really do hate when it comes to people trying to insult me, is when people say this specific thing, alright? And I've heard this so many times, but this is really something that frustrates me to an utmost extent. When somebody says that I'm a tryhard. Okay, wow, let's just get into this real fast, because or else we'll be here all night. What in the world is a tryhard? A tryhard is, by definition, somebody who tries hard. And I can understand what it means. Sometimes when people call tryhards, for instance, there's Team Fortress 2. It's a pretty casual game. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, sometimes we would just group up, like the enemy team, the allied team, whatever. We'd just, like, in the middle of the map. Nobody was shooting at anybody. Everyone was just goofing around, throwing, like, sandwiches around and just, like, shooting in the air and, you know, just whatever. And it was hilarious. And it was a lot of fun. Yet, what would happen oftentimes is, like, some random kid on the other team, or maybe even our team, would just come and start killing everybody. That's tryhard. Listen, we're not trying to compete. Isn't this obvious enough? I mean, if we were trying to compete, we wouldn't be here. That's just breaking the fun. Nobody's having fun when you're doing that. And, you know, that's... I can understand the mentality of just, you know, I'm here to fight. Well, yeah, but, you know, we're not. And it's sort of obvious when everybody's there just, like, goofing off and just, like, doing their taunts in the middle of the map. For crying out loud, that's tryhard. But what the problem is when somebody is doing well and the response of the other team, instead of saying, wow, we are getting destroyed, or, you know, they're playing very well, or their strategy is so much better than ours, it's try hard. Basically, it's saying, I put no effort in what I do, and because somebody else puts effort into what they do, I'm feeling offended, I'm feeling triggered, and because of that, I'm gonna lash out with a needless and useless attack by calling somebody a tryhard. You know what? That's actually a compliment. Saying you're a tryhard is a compliment. If you look at life and you just be like, wow, that guy got an A+ on his last exam, I got a D, I don't like him, I'm gonna call him a tryhard because he did a good effort, or at least he got a good grade. You know what? That doesn't make any sense. That's basically the same ideology that people are implementing in video games. It's because, look, you're doing a certain level of good, that means you're a tryhard. I understand there's some frustration when it comes to people using very cheap weapons in video games. You know, somebody's just running around using a VMP. I've tried to reach the top of the scoreboards by SPM in BO3 on 600,000 players. I've gotten to like the top 5,000 players by SPM by using a Locust and a Shadowclaw. I'm not using a VMP. So yeah, I can understand people calling that a tryhard because, like, look, you're going so fast, you're sweaty. That's also another one. That comes with it all the time. You're sweaty. Oh my goodness. So what? So what? If they're performing better than you, you know what? You're the problem. Just let that sink in. If they're doing better than you, there's a good chance that you're the problem. I'm only gonna call anybody a tryhard if they're doing something that's just outright lame to everybody. And I'm not just talking about only our team or their team. I'm saying pretty much everybody. And nobody's liking it. Everyone's trying to play only running around with melees, and that's like everybody's agreed to that. That's consensus. And this guy comes out with a automatic shotgun. That's tryhard. That's lame. That's just terrible. But I'm not going to call somebody a tryhard unless I'm doing better than that person. That person is complaining a lot oftentimes or something, and they're just running around crazy, but I'm still performing better than they are. Maybe I'll call them a tryhard, meaning that I'm actually a bigger tryhard than they are, but I don't find that an excuse. I don't find that an insult. And why do people just run around and say, hey, you're a tryhard? I don't get it. Just follow through with the mentality. It's like, yo, you have a good job, you have a wife, you have children, you have a good standing in society, you have, you know, everything is running well with you, you're enjoying your life. Man, you're such a tryhard. Come live with us in the slums, you know, and live where you know, you get beaten every 2 days, and, you know, there's full of drug abuse and stuff. Yeah, that would make you less of a tryhard and more of a cool guy. What? That makes no sense. And that's basically what people are advocating when they're like, huh, you're a tryhard if you're doing well. And you know, if you're really gonna comment about somebody using a lame weapon, like using an automatic shotgun or using an assault rifle that everybody knows is very OP, too powerful and such, yeah, okay, but define them more by they're using an easy weapon. They're lame. They're not skilled. Okay, that would be the best response, is to say, hey, you don't have any skill, or you're playing in an unskilled manner, or hey, could you try to use another weapon, please? I think everybody would appreciate that, because it's actually making the game boring for everybody, because the game devs don't understand or do not patch this problem that everybody seems to see. And back to having which weapons are actually OP or not, and should you actually nerf them or not, that's a whole other discussion. But that's what some people should just like say, instead of saying you're a tryhard. It's like, oh, he's cheap, or he's noob because he's using a weapon that is very easy to use. So that's basically my idea on when somebody insults me with the most frustrating insult out there, which is actually not an insult. That's why it's frustrating. But try hard. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And every time that anyone's using it, I feel like it's that person trying to cover for their own insecurities of being incapable of performing in a good manner. TiPit out.